In the quiet hours of October 14, 2025, a voice that once wrapped the world in velvet warmth fell silent. Michael Eugene Archer, the man the world knew as D'Angelo, has passed away at the age of 51. His family shared the news in a statement that carried the weight of both grief and gratitude. "The shining star of our family has dimmed his light for us in this life," they wrote, after a prolonged and courageous battle with cancer. "We are heartbroken to announce that Michael D'Angelo Archer, known to his fans around the world, as D'Angelo has been called home, departing this life today." October 14, 2025, they went on to say, "We are saddened that he can only leave dear memories with his family, but we are eternally grateful for the legacy of extraordinarily moving music he leaves behind. We ask that you respect our privacy during this difficult time, but invite you all join us in mourning his passing, while also celebrating the gift of song that he has left for the world." Those words echo the man himself, raw, honest, and full of soul. D'Angelo was not just a singer. He was a force who bent genres and bared his heart in ways few could match. His death marks the end of an era, but his music promises to keep burning bright. Born on February 11, 1974, in the working-class neighborhoods of South Richmond, Virginia, D'Angelo grew up in a home filled with the sounds of faith and feeling. His father was a Pentecostal preacher, and the family home pulsed with gospel hymns every Sunday. Music was everywhere: blues records spinning on the turntable, soul drifting from the radio. At just 3 years old, young Michael sat down at the family piano and played a tune that stunned his older brother. It was as if the keys knew him before he knew himself. By his teens, he was leading a band in Richmond, covering classics by Stevie Wonder and Prince while slipping in his own songs. Those early days built the foundation of a sound that would one day redefine R&B. In 1991, at 17, D'Angelo's talent took him to the bright lights of Harlem. His group won 3 straight nights at the Apollo Theater's Amateur Night, pocketing cash prizes and a ticket out of Virginia. He dropped out of school and moved to New York City, trading textbooks for recording studios. There, he linked up with songwriters like Raphael Saadiq and Angie Stone, who saw the spark in this shy kid with a voice like aged whiskey. He produced beats for hip-hop outfits and penned tracks that caught the ear of major labels. By 1993, he had a deal with EMI Music, and the world was about to hear what he could do. That breakthrough came in 1994 with You Will Know, a soaring anthem he co-wrote for the R&B collective Black Men United. It appeared on the soundtrack to the film Jason's Lyric and climbed the charts, hitting number 5 on the R&B singles list. D'Angelo directed the choir in the video, his presence already commanding. But it was his debut album, Brown Sugar, dropped in July 1995, that lit the fuse, named after a nod to his love for the sweet and the soulful. The record blended old-school funk with hip-hop grooves and gospel fire. Tracks like Lady and the title song wrapped listeners in a haze of sensuality and street smarts. It started slow but built steam, selling over 1 million copies and earning platinum status. Critics called it the birth of neo-soul fresh breath, in a genre that had grown stale. D'Angelo played nearly every instrument himself, channeling influences from Prince to James Brown, proving he was no mere singer but a one-man orchestra of emotion. Brown Sugar put D'Angelo on the map, but his follow-up, Voodoo, in 2000, sealed his place in the pantheon. Released on Virgin Records, it debuted at number 1 on the Billboard 200, moving more than 300,000 copies in its first week alone. The album was a deeper dive, funky bass lines, twisting with spiritual undertones, hip-hop edges sharpening the soul. Untitled How Does It Feel, the lead single, became a sensation. Its video a study in quiet intensity that showed D'Angelo bare-chested and vulnerable. It peaked at number 2 on the R&B chart and won him a Grammy for Best Male R&B Vocal. Performance in 2001, Voodoo took home Best R&B Album that same night. Collaborations peppered the record like Left and Right, with Redman and Method Man, bridging worlds in a way that felt effortless. Yet behind the acclaim, fame's glare began to dim D'Angelo's light. The video for Untitled turned him into a sex symbol overnight, a label he never sought. He spoke later of how it chipped away at him, making stages feel like spotlights on his skin rather than his sound. Tours stretched on for years, and the road took its toll. By 2001, After the deaths of close friends like Tupac Shakur and the notorious B.I.G., grief mixed with the pressures of stardom, alcohol crept in, then harder shadows. A friend's suicide that April pushed him further into isolation. Project stalled a live album, a studio effort with his band Sultronics. He parted ways with managers and labels, entered rehab, and vanished from view. Arrests followed in 2005, a car crash, DUI charges, marijuana, and cocaine possession. D'Angelo, the golden boy of R&B, was fighting demons in private while the world wondered where he'd gone. Those 12 years of silence, from 2001 to 2013, were not empty. He surfaced in bits guest spots on tracks for J Dilla, Snoop Dogg, Common, and Q-Tip. Leaks of unfinished songs like Really Love hinted at the fire still burning. In 2008, Virgin pieced together a greatest hits collection, but it was a placeholder. D'Angelo toured Europe in 2012, teasing new material at festivals like Bonnaroo. Songs such as Suga Daddy and The Charade emerged, raw and urgent, speaking to pains both personal and public. He drew from Parliament Funkadelic's grooves, the Beatles' layers, and Jimi Hendrix's fire, weaving a tapestry of sound that felt alive. Then, on December 15, 2014, Black Messiah arrived like a thunderclap. Dropped with little warning on iTunes, it was born from the fury of Ferguson and the killing of Eric Garner protests, raging as D'Angelo channeled rage into rhythm. The album hit number 5 on the charts, selling 117,000 copies out of the gate. Critics raved, giving it near-perfect scores for its blend of politics and passion. Really Love won Best R&B Song at the Grammys in 2016, and the record itself took Best R&B Album. Tracks like Betray My Heart and 1,000 Deaths layered funk with fury. A Call to Arms wrapped in melody. The Second Coming tour that followed packed houses across continents, with D'Angelo backed by a crack band including Pino Palladino on bass and Kendra Foster on vocals. It was a resurrection, proving his voice had only grown richer with time. In the years since, D'Angelo kept creating on his terms. He sang Unshaken for the 2018 game Red Dead Redemption 2, a haunting ballad produced by Daniel Lanois that captured the wild heart of the American West. In 2021, he took the Apollo stage for a Versus battle knot against a rival, but with friends like HER and Method Man, turning it into a family reunion of sound. Tributes flowed to a 2016 performance of Prince's Sometimes It Snows in April on The Tonight Show, eyes wet with shared loss. As recently as 2024, he joined Jay-Z on I Want You Forever for the Book of Clarence soundtrack, his falsetto soaring over strings, and whispers of a fourth album lingered. Raphael Sodic, his longtime collaborator, said D'Angelo was in a good place, the music flowing again. What made D'Angelo irreplaceable was his refusal to play small. He pulled from gospel's lift, blues, ache, funk's sweat, and hip-hop's pulse, creating something wholly his own. Brown Sugar sparked the neo-soul wave, inspiring Erykah Badu, Maxwell, and a generation that craved real over polished. Voodoo delved deeper, showing how vulnerability could be a superpower. Black Messiah reminded us music could fight back. Won Grammys, MTV nods, and spots on Rolling Stone's Greatest Singers list. But numbers miss the point. D'Angelo made you feel seen-loved, broken, alive. His relationships shaped him too. Father to 3 children. Partner to Angie Stone in the 90s, her voice echoing in his early work. Through Addiction's Grip and Fame's False Shine, he emerged authentic, a quiet revolutionary. Today, as fans stream Cruising or hum Brown Sugar, they're not just listening, they're connecting to a man who poured his soul into every note. Cancer took him too soon, but it couldn't dim the legacy. In Richmond churches and New York studios, in the hearts of millions, D'Angelo's light endures. His family asks for space in sorrow, but they welcome the world to celebrate. And so we will turning up the volume, letting his voice carry us home.